Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfris, back with a little bit more Ask Reddit. Today's question's gonna be, people that work on movie sets, what are the most entitled actors you've ever met? And I have a feeling you're gonna love this one. This one's kinda interesting. I feel like it follows a lot of what we do with the entitled parents type thing, so entitled actors is kinda cool. So make sure to leave a like on the video for 800 Bumfris points, and I know you guys will enjoy the video. Many years ago, I worked at OOB in Philly. We had a reservation for Don King one night, but he and his large party didn't show. So about 15 minutes past close, he calls and says that he's running late, but will be there in a few minutes. The owner asks some essential staff to stay, and about half an hour later, King and his party arrive. His party eats and drinks until after midnight, but when presented with the check, King says that one of his companions was unhappy with the food. The waiter offers to take it off the bill, and King makes snarky remarks like, "Of course you will." He ends up leaving no tip on a nearly $2,000 bill while making staff work an extra 3 hours. I haven't worked on a movie set, but I worked for a cleaning company that was hired by production companies that came into the area to film, which was in Alberta of Canada. We would take care of the homes of some celebs. Tom Hardy was lovely, very down to earth and friendly. He would walk by us in the house and always greet us and often talk about the weather and other mundane things. You know, small talk. His whole entourage was friendly. It was actually quite an enjoyable job. Good pay, easy work, nice environment, etc. When we cleaned Leonardo DiCaprio's place, we were specifically told not to talk to or look at him by the contact person that my boss had. We wouldn't have spoken unless spoken to first anyway, but the specific request for it made us uncomfortable. One time, one of my coworkers had a close encounter with Leo in his bathroom. She happened to be cleaning up while he was coming in. She jumped, apologized and said, "I'll get out of your way." She quickly gathered up all of her cleaning stuff and hurried out. He was totally silent throughout this and turned his head away from her. It was just kind of weird. And just a quick side note, we had a specific way we'd clean so to not encroach on anyone needing the bathroom. Leo's bedroom and bathroom were done when we were certain that he was up and about or out of the house, and we were always as fast as we could be. The previous cleaning company that was there before us was fired because one of the workers said, "How are you?" or something like that to Leo. That prior knowledge also made it harder working there. Oddly enough though, Leo's entourage had a strange curiosity with us that felt uncomfortable in the opposite sense. Almost like they'd never seen people before. I used to work in the film and TV industry. Tyra Banks legitimately will fire some people if they look her in the eye when passing in the hallway. Mostly it was interns. On the plus side, Tom Hanks and David Tennant are genuinely amazing. And Eric Dane, good guy. Once an actress yelled at one of our new writers and Eric heard about it. He later came by to apologize publicly in front of the whole cast and crew, even though it wasn't his doing. I absolutely love that guy. And someone on the crew later tried to poison that actress, so... My friend has worked on Dr. Phil for years. He has a no eye contact rule and is apparently one of the nastiest, most self-absorbed people in the industry. And just while we're on the topic of Phil, get a load of this comment. The no eye contact rule is because he doesn't want people to realize that he's cross-eyed and his eyes are too close together. And you'll never believe what the source is. I'm out of work and get depressed in the afternoon. If PewDiePie's anything to go by, I'm about to have my video hard demonetized just for mentioning Dr. Phil, so... If you guys could just buy my merch or something, because I'm out here just putting in the hard yards and Dr. Phil out here demonetizing all my stuff, you guys gotta help me out, please. Completely kidding, obviously, but hey, quick pivot in the conversation. If you guys want to see merch, let me know. It's probably something I can arrange. Just let me know some styles and we'll get something happening. Love you guys. A bit of third-hand information here, so who knows? But a person I know has worked with Kevin Smith. During the filming of Live Free or Die Hard, they were shooting Kevin's scenes, and I guess the call time was 7 AM. Everyone is ready, lights on, sound check, yada yada. But there was no Bruce Willis. Turns out he was at a nearby bar having mimosas. The aide that went to get him was told, "I'm John McClane. What are they gonna do? Fire me?" Or something to that effect. To Kevin's estimation, $90K-ish were wasted in pay, rental fees, and whatnot while waiting on Bruce to be ready to go. Faye Dunaway. And I cannot stress this enough, Faye Dunaway. I have had dealings with her personally and can vouch for her entitledness and nastiness. But my friend who works on movie sets has horror stories. She is extremely demanding and also picky. She brings her scales with her everywhere and will make anyone catering weigh it up in front of her. She also has a no eye contact rule, which must never be disobeyed. And she also yells and screams when things don't go her way. I'm sorry, but what the hell is a no eye contact rule? I've heard this probably 3 or 4 times since we started making this video. I just can't ever imagine myself looking at somebody or apparently not even looking at somebody, but saying to somebody, don't look me in the eyes because I'm what? Better than you? I'm an actor, so I'm better than you? I just don't get it. Speaking of Faye Dunn, here's another one about her. One time, she came into a restaurant that I worked at. The waiter came to the table, and before he could even open his mouth, she handed him a measuring cup and said, "Fill this with chicken salad." He told her that we don't have any, and she responded, "Of course you do. You love me. You know all my movies." And then she waved him away. Now personally, I don't have a clue who Faye Dunn is, and after looking her up, I don't think anyone under the age of 30 really would, because she was in movies like well back in the day, and that was when she was famous. Quite frankly, she doesn't really do anything anymore. Oh, and even if you did know her back in the day, she's basically nothing of her former self. She's a completely different looking person, and you probably wouldn't even recognize her today anyway, so she's just entitled for no reason. Not that it's a surprise to anyone, but Michael Cera is a huge effing asshole. I watched so many young musicians come up to him during the Sex Bomb tour, and they would come up to him to talk about music or gush about how he inspired them, only for him to either brush them off completely, ask them why they're talking to him, or just have security come and take them away. He is a total dick. Honestly, Michael Cera seems like a top dude. I don't think I've ever seen a bad story about him in my life.
There's gotta come down. We have a lot of people.
I'm not gonna come, okay? Behavioral issues are the least of my fucking problems.
Still, absolute top dude. I went to school with this guy who wound up co-starring in a feature film. I saw him in the bar one night and he walked up to this table of women and said, "So, who wants my autograph?" And he even had a pen. These women had no idea who he was because the movie he'd been in was some short-run B-movie that nobody had ever heard of. Insecure people who gain any sort of fame and recognition are the most cringy of all people. This just gave me like the greatest idea for a YouTube video of all time. Just walk up to random people pretending I'm a celebrity and asking if they want my autograph and see how many of them genuinely believe that I'm a celebrity and fall for the trap. Either that or maybe I'm just desperate for attention, who knows. My mum's friend did security for concerts. She always told us about how nice the bands were, but Adele was a nightmare. Her fans started to line up before her concert outside of the stadium, and Adele refused to do soundcheck just because she didn't want anyone to hear her for free. And also, you couldn't look at her when she spoke to you. AC/DC, however, was the nicest band she encountered, and the Foo Fighters. I have a story to tell, but I'm telling it secondhand. This was in a hotel, not a movie set, so sorry for breaking the rules. Apparently Sylvester Stallone had been angering the cleaning staff because he was leaving craps in the shower. When the manager complained to his people about this behaviour, his publicist explained that they had to understand that Mr. Stallone was a very busy man. Have you ever heard of somebody who was too busy to use the bathroom like a normal human being and just did their business in the shower? Like that's not normal, honestly. Like, even if you're a celebrity, there's no excuse for that whatsoever. Not a movie set, but it has to do with entitled actors. I waited on Kirsten Dunst at Uma Thurman's sister's engagement party out in the Hamptons. I went from having a celebrity crush on her to not being able to stand her by the end of the night. She ran out of cigarettes at one point and made a huge ordeal over the fact that when she asked staff for one, no one had her brand, which was Yellow American Spirits. To be fair, she was drunk as hell at this point, but she demanded that someone go out and get her cigarettes, and my manager made me oblige. I had to leave my entire section for about an hour to go on some crazy hunt during the peak of summer in the Hamptons to find her a Yellow American Spirits. After I finally went to give them to her, she didn't say thank you or even make eye contact. She just reached out, took them out of my hands, and pretended like I didn't exist. Uma Thurman, on the other hand, was a delight. Very polite and respectful. I've worked on a few movies, and Ed Helms was the only person that I've ever worked with that was a goddamn dismissive asshole. If you were a crew member, you weren't allowed to even talk to him, and if anyone said anything to him, even out of human kindness like "excuse me" or "is this your car," he would act all pained and roll his eyes. A girl somehow found our offices and mailed us a fan letter with a picture she brought of him and a press-dressed returned envelope. It was a super sweet letter, and the picture would have taken him 5 seconds to sign, but a PA read it to him and asked what he wanted to do with it, and he just said, "Just put that wherever you put things," and didn't sign it. The worst part was, it was for a stupid romantic comedy that ended up being terrible. Not a movie set, but my sister works at a cupcake shop, and Jason Segel walked in when the store was empty and quietly started looking at the cupcakes. My sister and her coworker totally knew who he was immediately, but didn't say anything straight away. He looks up at them over the counter and asks them if they sell milk too, and they tell him that they don't. He doesn't say anything and just turns around and walks out. So they were kinda bummed and definitely expected him to be a little bit more friendly. 2 minutes later, he walks in carrying half a gallon that he picked up from another store down the street and lifts it over his head and shouts, "Problem solved." He orders 3 cupcakes to go with the milk and takes pictures with both of them. Super nice guy. She also met Miranda Cosgrove there too. She was also super nice and took pictures. I've met Charlie Day and his wife, who pays the waitress, and he was one of the most genuinely nice people I've ever met. And he is absolutely hilarious. I worked at a beach in his hometown, and he literally drove past me in the parking lot, honking his horn to say goodbye to me, which obviously he totally did not need to do. I've also met Alex Wolf, who I got a really pretentious vibe off of. He wasn't mean to me or anything, but you can just tell that he thinks pretty highly of himself. I started to read these ones, and both of them, Charlie Day and Jason Segel, I was really hoping that they weren't entitled, because honestly, they seem like such cool guys on and off camera. But after reading them, I did want to finish up with something a little bit different. We always deal with so many entitled people on this channel that I thought I would try and bring a little bit of a positive vibe and some actors who, are actually decent people. Alright everyone, that is that for today's episode of Ask Reddit. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, before I get into anything else, I just want to say a quick thank you to every one of you for the last probably couple of weeks. From back when I wasn't feeling very well, a lot of you guys suggested that it would be okay if, I didn't commit to daily uploads for a little while, and it honestly is helping me a lot more than you guys know. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things and make sure that my health is the #1 priority, and I really appreciate how understanding and giving you guys were in that time. Yeah, I don't know, you guys are honestly like the most amazing people that I've ever been blessed to come in contact with in my life. Like, I cannot thank you all enough. You're all fantastic people, and I really do appreciate having the backing of every single one of you. It means the world. If there's ever a way that I can give back to you guys, let me know, because I'm a pretty humble person, and I know that the position that I'm in right now, being able to make videos and, be able to put out things that people actually enjoy, I wouldn't have the ability or be lucky enough to be able to do that without you guys. I guess in summary, I just want you guys to know that you mean the world to me, and I really do appreciate every single person that watches my videos each day. But yeah, I am going to let that wrap things up for today's video. If you do want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, please do so at Bumfris. I will be more than happy to try and respond to any messages or tweets that you guys flick towards my way. And we can have a little conversation, whatever. I do my best to respond. It's not always possible, but I respond to as many as I can. Otherwise, I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all for another episode of Entitled Parents. Bye.